pointing dog is so valuable for the Sambar deer hunter. The terrain they live in is brutal on us sometimes, and we can't always follow our dog. So if we can use our pointer effectively, as they've always been used for bird hunting, which is to range, find and hold point on an animal so that we can move in without scaring that animal off and still get a shot. If we can train that, then we've got a weapon in the bush. And this video is going to demonstrate that. I use a tool called the Garmin Alpha Track and Train as well, which is how I can see my dog in Sambar deer country, even when it's out of sight. Here I have my GPS. So what you can see here is my Garmin Alpha tracking collar telling me that my dog is 73 meters over a spur out of sight. The machine vibrates when the dog is stationary, which, because this GPS is set on pointing dog mode, tells me that the dog is pointing. So we're now at 66 meters in this sped up, unedited sneak in on this deer, or multiple deer at this stage, I don't know. Now this is dry, noisy terrain on a north-facing spur. But because the dog's 70 meters away, I can not only approach this deer quietly, I can also guide a client in who is directly behind me. All of this is possible because the dog has indicated so early. And that's why we have a pointing dog. It's to go ahead, find something, hold point, and give us pre-warning before we've spooked that deer off. Now, the dog doesn't always work out at large distances from me. Most of the time it will be within 10 to 40 meters. But because I haven't overtrained my dog to stay too close and think of me too much, especially while it's young, it has a license to take a faint bit of air scent that it encounters and move off to find that scent. Without that license, it'll do two things. It'll either quit the smell because I'm more important than the smell because of my overtraining, or it will lose that scent because I didn't move in the right direction or move quick enough for the dog to stay with it. This is a bad outcome. What the dog's doing here, which is so different to a bird dog type approach on an animal, is the dog gets air scent and then slows down and moves in quietly. If this was a quail, the dog could move in as fast as it wanted and the quail would stay put, and eventually the dog would get into the pointing zone and lock on. If it does that same fast approach on a deer, the deer will take off, which will result in a chase, and we don't want that. We want a deer to remain undisturbed. Look closely here and you'll see a stag, as if I had any chance of finding this thing on my own. So if you want to get a dog to this level of hunting proficiency, you'll need three things. Firstly, you'll need a dog with the right genetics, and I'm here to help with that. As a breeder of this bloodline of English pointers, I can ensure that you'll have strong pointing instincts and a great hunting IQ at your disposal. Secondly, you'll need to know how to train your dog to harness those instincts. That's what my Deer Point program is all about. And lastly, you can't do this if you don't know how to hunt with your dog and put it into some winning situations. I'll also teach you that as part of my Deer Point training program.